The ouster of Mohammad Mosaddegh of Iran in 1953 and removal of Sheikh Hasina in 2024, while distinct in their historical contexts, reveal striking similarities in terms of political dynamics, foreign interference, and their consequences for domestic governance. Both leaders occupy pivotal roles in their nation's modern histories, and their ousters, whether actual or speculative, share key thematic parallels concerning challenges to authority, democratic values, and geopolitical power plays. Mohammad Mosaddegh, Iran's prime minister from 1951 to 1953, was a nationalist leader who championed the nationalization of Iran's oil industry, which had been dominated by foreign powers, especially the British. His policies were viewed as a direct challenge to Western economic interests, leading to tensions with the United States and the United Kingdom. Mosaddegh's leadership was marked by a strong sense of nationalism, resistance to foreign influence, and a desire to secure Iran's resources for its people. Sheikh Hasina, the Prime Minister of Bangladesh since 2009, with earlier terms as well, has also demonstrated a robust form of leadership centered on economic development, secular governance, and a complex relationship with foreign powers. Under her administration, Bangladesh saw rapid economic growth, infrastructural development, and increased global recognition as a developing nation with potential. However, Sheikh Hasina's leadership has also been critiqued for authoritarian tendencies, suppression of dissent, and the curtailment of political freedoms. Both leaders, despite their successes in certain aspects, faced significant opposition domestically due to their perceived autocratic inclinations. In Mosaddegh's case, his economic nationalism and centralization of power alienated Iran's royalist elites and business sectors, just as Hasina's consolidation of authority sparked dissatisfaction among opposition groups in Bangladesh. In both cases, domestic opposition to their leadership grew, although for different reasons. For Mosaddegh, his attempt to limit the power of the Iranian monarchy, led by Shah Mohammad Reza Pahlavi, and his economic policies that harmed foreign businesses, resulted in political instability. His political moves, especially his focus on reducing foreign influence, won him significant popular support but alienated powerful domestic institutions like the military and conservative elites. Similarly, Sheikh Hasina's political dominance in Bangladesh had been met with rising opposition, particularly from the Bangladesh Nationalist Party (BNP) and Islamist groups. Accusations of electoral manipulation, human rights abuses, and the muzzling of media outlets had contributed to a polarized political environment. Growing domestic unrest and dissatisfaction with perceived corruption, economic inequality, and political repression had left Hasina vulnerable to challenges to her authority. A defining parallel between the ouster of Mosaddegh and Hasina involved foreign intervention. In Mosaddegh's case, the United States and the United Kingdom played central roles in orchestrating his downfall through the infamous Operation Ajax. The CIA and MI6 covertly supported anti-Mosaddegh factions in Iran, fearing that his nationalist policies and leanings towards Soviet Union would lead Iran to abandon the West's geopolitical orbit during the Cold War. Mosaddegh's removal in 1953, under the guise of restoring the monarchy's power, effectively reinstated foreign control over Iran's oil resources and entrenched Western influence in the region. In Sheikh Hasina's case, she made a statement just after her ouster that she was removed because she did not bow down to United States' will. It is widely believed that the United States wants to gain control of the St. Martin's Island of Bangladesh to build a base there for its armed forces. The United States wants to assert its control in the Bay of Bengal and Indian Ocean region, and St. Martin's Island would provide it a perfect base to launch its operations from. United States used various means to put pressure on Sheikh Hasina using international agencies controlled by it. A day after Bangladesh Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina's party emerged victorious at the polls in January 2024, the U.S. and United Nations voiced concern over violence and reports of irregularities on the day of elections, with Washington noting that the polls were not free or fair and regretted that not all parties participated in the ballot. However, It should be noted that many of the so-called opposition in Bangladesh were facing charges of rape and murder during the Bangladesh independent movement of 1971. U.S. diplomat Donald Liu, who was accused by Pakistan's former Prime Minister Imran Khan as the man behind his ouster and who is often referred to as a regime change expert, had visited Bangladesh just before the anti-government protests began. Liu was also alleged to have influenced the internal politics of two other South Asian countries, Nepal and Sri Lanka. Liu's visit to Bangladesh led many to believe that Washington could intervene to restore democracy in a country seen as backsliding towards authoritarianism. Assistant Secretary Liu was casted as the possible architect of this imagined intervention. Both the 1953 ouster of Mosaddegh and 2024 removal of Sheikh Hasina would have profound implications for their respective countries' political trajectories. In Iran, Mossaddegh's ouster led to the consolidation of the Shah's rule, which became increasingly authoritarian, ultimately laying the groundwork for the 1979 Islamic Revolution. The foreign-backed removal of a popular nationalist leader created long-lasting resentment against Western interference in Iranian affairs and contributed to a turn toward radicalism and anti-imperialist sentiment. In Bangladesh, the removal of Sheikh Hasina could similarly destabilize the political landscape. Her government, though criticized for authoritarianism, has also been credited with overseeing a period of economic growth and relative stability. A sudden power vacuum or regime change could potentially ignite political chaos, with opposition forces scrambling for control and creating an uncertain future for democratic governance. Moreover, Bangladesh's geopolitical alignment could shift, particularly if foreign powers with vested interests play a role in influencing the outcome. The removal of Mohammad Mosaddegh in 1953 and the ouster of Sheikh Hasina in 2024 echo one another in key ways, particularly concerning foreign intervention, political instability, and the implications for democracy. Both leaders represent figures whose strong domestic policies and nationalist stances came into conflict with foreign powers and domestic elites, ultimately leading to their political vulnerability. The lasting impact of Mossaddegh's ouster on Iran's political landscape offers a cautionary tale for Bangladesh, as removal of Sheikh Hasina could similarly trigger instability, with far-reaching consequences for democracy and geopolitics.